5 questions with Chloe Mae Dance. Okay. Question number 1, I presume. Tell us about your dance background and where you're off to in 5 days. So I'll start with where I'm off to in 5 days. I am moving to Shenzhen, which is in the south of China. It's in Guangdong province, and it is bordering Hong Kong. And Shenzhen is a really cool modern city, and I'm going there to teach ballet. And as for my dance background, I started dancing when I was 3. I started with ballet and jazz, and I actually had an opportunity to move to China in high school. And so when I was 16, I kind of had to put a halt on my ballet training and my jazz training, and I ended up picking up Latin dance. Mostly, well, softly in the U.S. I actually have a photo of the day that that happened. It was at Summer Dance in Chicago, and basically it was this outdoor, it had live music, outdoor dance floor, and that's kind of like where I fell in love with Latin dance. And then in China, I found a club called Salsa Caribe, and it was a club with live musicians in Beijing, and I would go out until my curfew, and then I had to run home, but I would stay as long as I could, and I would social dance, and I just fell in love with the music and all of it. So that's when I was 16 is when I began Latin dance, and I ended up training with 2 different world champion teams, Omambo and MG, my generation. And I also, with Latin Rhythms, my studio in Chicago, we went to the World Latin Dance Cup in 2012, and we finalized 3rd place, bachata team, so that was really fun. That was crazy. But yeah, and so then once I moved to LA, I started training in hip hop more seriously, and heels, and I have done a lot of assisting work with some great choreographers and dancers for actually one of them was for a top 40 artist with Connect, and I assisted, and we choreographed for this guy named Max. And then I've also worked with, he's a singer and performer, Lights Down Low. It's a really cool, and we worked with Ditto as well. It's a really cool video. And then I've also worked with Ebony Ty Hamilton, who is an amazing choreographer and movement coach. She most recently just worked with Jennifer Hudson for Cats. So I'm working with some really cool people, and training with some amazing teachers here in LA. And I couldn't be happier. I'm so sad. I'm gonna miss them though when I leave. But yeah, so that's basically kind of been my background. And then with my partner, when he shoots his clients, I help do movement coaching for them, because a lot of them aren't always used to being in front of the camera on a normal basis. So yeah. Next question. I started dancing at age 3. When did I know I wanted to do it as a vocation? Well, a defining moment in my life where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, was after my dad took me to go see Center Stage. Alexa, what year did the movie Center Stage come out?
The film Center Stage was released about 19 years ago on May 12, 2000.
Okay, so on in or around May 12th, 2000, 19 years ago, was when I looked at my dad and I was like, this is what I want to do. So let's see, 19 years ago, I was 12, right? Yeah. And yeah, and at that time I was, 12. I was transitioning to a new school. A lot of changes were happening in my life, and at that time I wanted to do dance, but 12 was also the year that I started learning Chinese. So it's kind of an interesting intersection. Okay, so next question. Why? What is it about dance that makes you happy or makes your soul sing? I am an exhibitionist by character. I love our entertainer. You know, I love like performing for people. I love making people feel things through my dance, and that's like the biggest feedback I get is, you know, just visual feedback from people, or if they come up to me after they see me freestyle. And a lot of times it's not about like receiving compliments or anything like that. It's more just about like knowing that something that I did made them feel something, and it actually like hearing that from people actually helps keep me going too, which is great, because a lot of times as dancers, especially, and all artists, we struggle with our self-image and our own confidence in our work, and so it's always a nice reassurance that like, oh yeah, maybe that didn't necessarily feel the best for me, or something felt like awkward, but I'm being a little bit self-critical because it made someone else feel great. So that's the kind of feedback that I'm talking about. But that is one thing that keeps me going, is knowing that I make other people feel things, and then also for myself, I just feel so I feel so free, and I feel so just like happy to move. I'm like always moving. I can't stop moving basically. So if that's any consolation, and when I don't get to dance, there will be times where, you know, life gets really busy and you have to prioritize other things. So when I don't get to dance, like I feel it mentally, physically, emotionally, in my soul, in my body, in just around me. My environment is affected too, because it's like I just get antsy, and it makes me feel better. So whether or not I like feel it necessarily constantly, consciously or subconsciously, I know that it's really good for me, and it always brings good things to me. So what inspires me? My gut reaction to that is like seeing other people doing their thing, doing their own thing, and just like pushing forward and creating. That inspires me a lot. People around me that are creating inspire me a lot. Whether, you know, it's my uncle's an artist, and he just has always, you know, both of my uncles are artists, and they always are pushing their art forward. They're continuing with their art every day, and that's just like such a beautiful commitment that inspires me. Just anyone that creates something and puts it out there. So it sounds kind of corny, but it's true. Tell us anything you want people to know about dance, or about how to access their own creativity, or about what you hope your students take away after having classes with you. What do you want them to know? Well, the one thing that I want people to know, especially people that say that they have 2 left feet, is that anyone can be a dancer, despite what anyone may think. Because I always tell people that if their heart is beating, then their body is moving. And so that's how I feel. So it's like, just having that pulse within you. You have your own natural kind of rhythm to your body. And if there's one thing, I was talking about this yesterday, but there's one thing that I want people to know, it's that they all have it within them to move. And sometimes you just have to close your eyes and just like listen to the music and really let it sit within you, and then just let your body do the rest. Don't worry about what anyone is thinking, and this is advice for me first and foremost, to not worry about what anyone is thinking or doing. Just move as you, because all you can do is be yourself. So, is that 5 questions? Oh my gosh, okay. Well, there we go.